Hi, welcome to the first edition of Wele Football Focus. This week, I take a look at the favorites in the Zambian Super League, which kicks off on 17th March. Firstly, it's important to note that 4 teams were demoted last season and 4 teams came up, those being Kabwe Youth Soccer Academy, National Assembly, New Monte Swallows, and Future United. It's also important to note that some coaches have changed teams, some teams have changed coaches, and even some player transfers have happened. Youth could have let go of Chadren Hicham and replaced him with Arena. Lusaka Dynamos have brought in Dan Kabwe and let go of Patrick Perry. Power Dynamos have brought in Kelvin Kaindu after him gathering a wealth of experience in Zimbabwe. Zesco United still have Tenant Chamber as interim coach after letting go of Zlatko Krimpotic. And of course, Kabwe Warriors have brought in their former player Tenant Chirumba to take charge of the team this season. It's also important to note that there are exciting players that have signed for particular teams, and even the players that they had last season, I hope that they are going to have an impact this season, such as Zikro Adams, who has transferred from Changa Rangers and joined Zesco United. He has had a good start, though he did not perform very well in the Charity Shield, but did very well in the CAF Champions League. Idris Mbombo has come back to Zambia, this time not for Zesco but for Ghana, and he did very well in the Charity Shield. We have Crispin Mugalu, looking at the number of goals scored last season. You expect him to continue in the same vein of form. Martin Piri has left Quito to go to Lusaka to join Zanaco, and so far has started on a very good note, just like Maisha Chavda, who has left Quito to join Zanaco. He's also done very well up to this point. As said earlier, I take a look at the favorites for the season in no particular order. Number 1, Zesco United. They may have lost at home in the Champions League, and they may have lost the Charity Shield to Ghana in the final, but they still remain very strong. They have a wealth of experienced players. Zesco were trendsetters in Zambia Football League when they started getting players from abroad and bringing them in Zambia. To this point, they have done very well. We have the Kenyan contingent there, and other local players that have done very well. They have a wealth of experience, and that is something that they can bank on in trying to get the title. They have good quality of players. It's unquestionable. The same prop that got them to the semi-finals of the Champions League only 2 seasons ago, and that is something they can still bank on. They have a depth. The squad is not devoid of quality. Looking at the team that they paraded in the Charity Shield, that was a very good team, and that was largely second string. So based on that, I think Zesco still have a good chance to go on and challenge for the title this season. Number 2, Zanaco. Zanaco also have a wealth of experience. They have a team that has played together for a long time. They have been in the top 2 of the Zambian Super League for the past 3 years. Mbamba has done a very good job there, and Zanaco should be able to call upon their wealth of experience to be able to carry them forward. They have new quality players. I spoke of Maisha Chapter earlier. There's Betroy Bade Bukinabe and a few other players that they'll be hoping to carry the load, especially that they're also playing in the CAF games. They need good quality to compete on both fronts, and I think they'll be recruited very well. Additionally, they have a coach that knows his team very well. Mbamba has been at the helm for the last 4 seasons, and even before that, he was an assistant. So that tells you that he knows the players very well. He knows who to bring on in particular games. He knows how to get the result, as he has proven for the last 3 seasons. Equally, I think they want to continue to play in the CAF Champions League or the Confederations Cup. So that is something that gives them an extra impetus to be able to push forward and be able to compete in Africa. I think Zesco United did very well to set the precedence, and Zanaco would be looking to do well. Zesco came from behind and they've done very well, and I think Zanaco have realized that they also need to compete favorably, and they need to bring in a wealth of experience, that they have good quality players and depth, and I think they've added very well. So wanting to continue on the African adventure will make them push forward and be able to challenge for the league table. Ghana, of course, they are a big side, not only in terms of following, but even in the way they play their game. They have been experienced technical bench. We're talking of Beston Chambeshi, you're talking of Manfred Chabinga as his assistants. Billy Mwanza is also part of that team, and they look a very solid team. They recently won the Charity Shield. They have added quality to their team. Like I said, bringing Mark Idris Mbomba to the Zambian Super League. They have very good players in the team. What only worries me about Ghana is that their defense doesn't really seem to be very strong. Yes, they are a team that play on the front foot, but defensively they are worrying. However, they are a team that rely on outscoring opponents, so they are comfortable with the 4-3 win, they are comfortable with the 3-2 win as long as they get the points on the board. But one would be expecting that they tighten up their defense in order for them to challenge effectively. Lusaka Dynamos. Lusaka Dynamos last season added a lot of players to the team, and they were bound to struggle in that the chemistry would not have worked from the onset, but they grew as the league went on. Yes, the wheels came off towards the end of the season, but I think they did very well, especially that they had battled with relegation the season before, and were only saved by the restructuring of the league, changing from 16 teams to 20. This time around, I expect that the chemistry has improved. They haven't added much to their squad in the transfer season. A notable addition is the Namibian defender whom they have brought in. But all in all, I expect that their chemistry has improved to this day. They expect them to challenge for the league. The goodness is that they have A-grade quality players, and these are the players that should be able to carry them forward. They have recruited from across the continent. It's a multinational team. Most of the players are international players, and that is what should be able to carry them going forward. Another factor for Lusaka Dynamos is Dan Kabwe. Dan Kabwe, his qualification is well published. He has got a wealth of experience. We saw what he did last season at Power Dynamos and Midist, where he didn't really have the best quality of players, but I think they still did favorably well. And this season he's at Lusaka Dynamos, where I expect that he's been given all the support in terms of personnel, in terms of logistics, and in terms of quality. Now, a quality coach and quality players equals a good product, and that is what Lusaka Dynamos are going to bring to the table this season. They also have depth. They can call upon any player from the bench and be able to add value. The good point is that the quality of players that start a game and those that are on the bench is almost of the same quality, so they are not expected to have a disruption in terms of fluidity going forward, in terms of cohesion, because the quality of players that they have is of a similar grade. So Lusaka Dynamo should be a team to watch this season and should be able to challenge. Buildcon. Most people do not like Buildcon because they think that they just bought their way into the Super League, but make no mistake, they got a slot in Division 1 and played their way into the Super League. So they earned their place, and the kind of money that they've been spending really means that they want to do good business this season in the league. They replaced their coach, like I had said earlier on, but one thing that stands out for me is that Buildcon recruited very early. They had started recruiting players even before the end of last season. They signed some contracts on players on pre-contracts, and I think their recruitment having been done early, the pre-season friendlies that they've played makes them be in a good position to be able to challenge for the league. Their coach has coached in Africa for a long time and has won league titles in West Africa, so it means he has experience playing on the African continent, and that should be able to work in Buildcon's favor. I think they have a hunger to succeed. Looking at the way they've spent, looking at the way they've structured, they are in business and they are in for the long haul. I hope that they are going to challenge, because looking at what they have on paper, I'm talking about Brian Miller, who's an international player. They recently signed Samba Lungu, who's an international player, whom I expect to add to his quality of assists, and I think they are going to be a force to be reckoned with this season. This season I don't expect them to have teething problems like they had last season when they had recruited massively and did not have good time for the players who prepare. This time they have prepared very well. I think they're going to be challenging. There are a few other teams that I expect not ready to challenge for the title, but to give those that will be challenging for the title a good run for their money, such as Power Dynamos. Yes, the quality in the side might not be as much, but they have a quality coach. I think with the wealth of experience that Kelvin Kaino has and the style that he wants to play, Power are going to give the top teams a good run for their money. We're talking about a team like Red Arrows. Ronald Janza is always going to be a factor. He's an elite coach, a former national team coach. Yes, they did not do very well last season, but I think they're going to build on what they did last season. They've recruited as well. They've gone into Africa and brought in a few players. They had season training done in Spain, when they played high-profile friendlies with some teams from Europe, I think they are also well prepared for this season. They may not challenge for the league, but definitely they are going to give a good push for the league. Green Buffaloes Football Club. Yes, they may have disappointed a lot of locals considering how they performed in the CAF Confederations Cup, but then they're a team whose transfer policy might not really aid them a lot, but they are a cohesive team. They have good quality on the technical bench. They have good quality of players that should be able to play effectively on Africa, and I think their desire to play in Africa again is going to aid them as they push forward in the league. One thing that I've noted in our local sides is that there seems to be a struggle between balancing attack and defense. Most teams leak a lot of goals. As much as they score, they still leak a lot of goals, and I think teams need to begin to create a balance between their attack and their defense. The other thing I expect to see this season is that there will be many leagues within the league. There will be top teams that will be looking to challenge for the league. That is the 5 that I spoke of earlier. There will be a mini league in the middle for those that will be looking for mid-table comfort, and there will be a lower league down there for teams that will be battling relegation. And I think the teams that will be favorites to battle relegation are basically the 4 teams that have just recently come up. And then to that we may add Akambaya Leopards and Green Eagles. Green Eagles are a team that are always commanded to win the league, but they don't get there. We might talk of the quality of players and a few other pointers, but then I think they are still going to compete favorably. But I still see them going to battle relegation. With all things said and done, I look forward to have a very competitive league, teams going at each other's throats, the excitement, the fans to be given a good quality, the sponsors to have a return on their investments, and ultimately a very good soccer season in the Zambian Super League. Between now and the end of the season, I wish you all enjoy the games, and I wish you can catch the next episode of Wele Football Focus. From me and the rest of the team, bye bye.